Julia Roknifard is a senior lecturer at the School of Law and Governance in Taylor's University. She joins us from Kuala Lumpur. Really good to have you with us, Julia. This drawdown of US personnel across the Middle East is quite concerning, isn't it? Reportedly, Washington is also preparing a partial evacuation of the sprawling embassy in Baghdad. They haven't cited exactly why they're doing this, just saying that there's a heightened security risk in the region. But there are reports that this is being done because Israel is preparing to launch some sort of an operation against Iran. What are you hearing, and how worried are you about an escalation between Israel and Iran?
There's been quite an unsafe security situation in the region for quite some time already, even without the recent escalatory talks about the possibility of Israel striking against Iran. So that's not something new. However, right, the timing, the coincidence of it with how the Iran-US nuclear talks are going, how much Israel talks about the possibility of directly striking Iran, ramping this up. That's quite striking. So there might be a few scenarios what we should brace ourselves for. It could be indeed, as some observers are saying, that the US is just trying to play this threat card on the eve of the next round of negotiations with Iran to pressure Iran further. And we're hearing that this round is supposed to happen on Sunday, although no details yet. And there are also contradictory statements from both sides, concern from, rather, already escalation into threats on the part of the US that if they are not to reach any kind of satisfactory conclusion, that there might be a strike. And on the part of Iran, as we heard from Minister Arakchi, that negotiations are going well and the parties can come to some resolution of it. So that might be one, that playing this card in order to gain more in these negotiations to pressure Iran. It could be indeed that the US is aware of this operation that Israel is planning to launch, either true or not, and is trying to prepare for it, because for that case, Iran promised to strike not just Israel, but the US-related facilities in the Middle East, and there are quite many, and it already proven before, probably with minimal or no death toll, but this time it might turn different with all the pressure building up. So there could be a number of scenarios for us to expect, and we are not quite sure which one.
Now, the IAEA's latest decision essentially saying that Iran is defying its non-proliferation obligations, the first time it's done so in 2 decades. It comes after the UN nuclear watchdog released a report last week saying that it was concerned that Iran wasn't fully cooperating with the IAEA. It was also concerned about the presence of unspecified nuclear material at various sites, as well as so-called secret operations. Israel has been saying for years that Iran is essentially developing a nuclear weapon or looking to do so. Does this IAEA report and ruling justify any of Israel's concerns?
It might justify Israel's concerns, but the question really is why we are talking about this now. It's true that the time, the deadline for the activating the snapback mechanism of restoring sanctions against Iran is approaching, but also, it's quite striking how, at the same time, we are dealing with a number of international crises, starting with the crisis in Gaza, which you cover massively, and Ukraine crisis, of course, and developments on that front with some developments on the battlefield, and in a way, Russia having the upper hand and negotiations on that side not going very well. So it more raises a question of how valid Iran's statements, and they appear quite valid, about that that's a political move. in order to distract the international community from addressing other issues. Because besides the approaching deadline for the snapback, for activating the snapback mechanism, which the U.S. Does not even have a say in because they retrieved from the JCPOA, the so-called Iran nuclear deal, in 2018. The US doesn't have a say in, so it's just for the European parties to the deal to trigger that. The timing of it is not coincidental, and it looks like there is some bigger play is unfolding in order to for the US in particular to have some gain after all, because Trump did not succeed with regards to establishing peace vis-a-vis Ukraine. Gaza is a disaster. Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is even a bigger disaster. So now there is an attempt to get maybe a small win, maybe blitzkrieg, but I don't think a war against Iran, even a small attack, is going to turn anything like a blitzkrieg.
Okay. Julia Roknifard, we will have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.